Once upon a time, Dodge decided to take on the JDM market, especially the tuner market. And what was their solution? They took the Dodge Neon and tried to make it cool. This is the Dodge Neon SRT4, and it has a very interesting reputation in the car scene, mostly due to unreliability. Even in the user manual, it says every 60,000 miles you have to do insane amount of maintenance to keep this car going. But when the SRT4 is drivable and going, it is an absolute hoot. So was the SRT4 just a American cash grab in order to capitalize on the tuner market, or was it really something great that was underrated? Let's go for a drive and find out. With how much I do with cars and how much I travel and with gas prices going up and so many different things going on, so when I'm in a pinch and I need to fix a car unexpectedly, like my daily driver, sometimes it's good just to have some extra help. And that's why I want to talk about today's sponsor, Dave. If you're living paycheck to paycheck and you're struggling to make ends meet, it can be so stressful to have unexpected expenses come up. But now with Dave, you can get that help in a pinch when you really need it. Dave is the banking app in which you can get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. And that's more money to fill up your gas tank, go get a wedding gift, and catch up on bills. And then you can finally tackle those expenses that have been stressing you out without any hangups. And a really great thing about it is that there's no interest or no credit card needed. And millions of people have already downloaded the Dave app to get the financial relief they need with extra cash. So if you're in a pinch, you need some extra help, download Dave and think of it as a helping hand from future you. And download Dave today at dave.com/blue. That's dave.com/blue, and sign up for extra cash account to get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees apply. Banking provided by Evolve. Member FDIC. And future you will thank you. Hello and welcome to the Dodge Neon SRT4. The Dodge Neon SRT4 is one of the most evasive cars for me to film. The very first one I ever did took me 6 years to find because unfortunately, they're kind of unreliable. And I'm sorry to my SRT4 fans out there, it's just my experience. But whenever I do get to drive one, I have a soft spot for it. It is such a unique decision by Dodge that they tried to capitalize on the Japanese tuner scene and try to kind of convert over some Americans to be like, hey, don't buy those, buy an American, even though we'll do the 4-cylinder turbo thing too. It's a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder turbocharger by Dodge, basically taking the Neon engine and just completely beefing it up, changing everything to make it really what it is today. And it's really easy to drive, even with this stage 6 clutch in it. The turbo is so loud that it almost outshines the motor. Now this one makes about 300 wheel horsepower and is tracked all the time. That's why it's kind of beat up. I'm driving this one because the owner of this car tracks this all the time at Atlanta Motorsports Park, and that's what really grabbed my attention about it. He uses it. Even he was saying, yeah, it's unreliable, but I just love it too much. So we're pushing about 11 pounds of boost, and you did have cars like the Cobalt SS later, after the SRT4 was discontinued. They only made this car 3 years. That's not a long time in a car's life cycle. That's R&D, development, everything. But Dodge knew these cars were unreliable. Even in their user manual, they say at 60,000 miles, change your head gasket, change pretty much everything. 60,000 miles. And you and I both know that every car was different. One was more reliable than another. Snap, crackle, pop. But honestly, another thing about the SRT4 is the looks. They definitely cleaned up the normal Neon. But one thing you'll notice, if you've never been in an SRT4, one thing you'll notice is the shifter position. It is super low. It's basically almost a floor-mounted shifter, which I find really interesting for the time. The seating position of the SRT4 is pretty good. The seats in this car actually come from the Dodge Viper. That's why the owner of this car put the Viper emblem on the front. At the same time, bikes on bikes on bikes on bikes. It's just one of those days. So this is a 5-speed transmission. The gearbox feels fine. It's not terrible, it's not as good as an S2000, but it's totally acceptable. That's so freaking rowdy, dude. Now the SRT4 has notorious torque steer because of all the power and torque going to the front wheels. This 4-cylinder actually makes a good bit of torque, especially for the era. When you have the Hondas and its competitors at the time that this car was going for, that was more for peak horsepower at the end and not a lot of torque. This kind of evened the score with horsepower and torque because America. The name Twisted Axle because on AMP one day at full sit he was going over one of the hills there and just completely blew out his axle and tore apart everything. Too fast, too furious. And also, like, Dodge having the nerve to put a wing on a Neon. Like, the newer generation Dodge Dart could have filled this car's shoes, but it just never did. This car was more fun to drive in every way than any other front-wheel drive car Dodge ever made again. And now with Dodge's focus being more on the Hellcat program and now later the Inline 6 program, it's understandable why this is a car of a bygone era and why they don't bother with stuff like this anymore. But I will be real with you, the interior is not as bad as I remember. Like, the seats feel pretty comfortable, the dashboard is not cracked or anything, and this thing has seen everything. The door panel materials, are they plastic? Yeah, but they kind of give the illusion of looking nicer than they are. Jeff, you never been in an SRT4?
I've never been in an SRT4. I'm very excited.
Yeah, because you never get to.
It makes so much cool noises.
I know. He tracks us at AMP.
No way. Cool, fast, fast enough.
Yeah.
Brakes are incredible.
Yep. Don't ever lift off in an SRT4. I just did a little bit to see what would happen. Don't do that. Someone's burning leaves back there. Don't worry, it wasn't this car. The source of smoke is not this car. Rumble on that upshift. By the way, the SRT4 only has an 8-gallon fuel tank. 8 gallons. All turbo, dude. But when you throw this in a corner, you have to really add power. That's what it seems to like. But you also have to be careful of, I don't know if the word is snap oversteer, but the rear end will kick out on you a little bit if you let off of the gas. You push it through the corner. You have to remember, they barely built any of these in yellow too, so if you do see a yellow SRT4, it's pretty rare. Also, the back seat is kinda usable, not that usable. This was the beginning for me of the weird SRT era, because they had this as the SRT4, the Neon, and then they had the SRT6 Crossfire from Chrysler, which was a really odd car to drive, but it was really fun. And then they had the SRT4 Caliber, and it was just a really unique time for Dodge to experiment and try new things and kind of throw darts at a board and saw what stuck. And the SRT4 stuck really hard with its cult following. SRT4 people, man, they love this car. And I kind of give them credit because it's it's a lot of work to keep up with. But at the same time, they do sound different than any other 4-cylinder on the market pretty much ever. And I just kind of give it a little bit of the beans, that's when it's really happy. Really notchy shifter. Going from 3rd to 4th, I go kunk. I always kind of nickname it's got the oink oink piggy, kind of like what the Alpha 4C sounds like and stuff like that. But the actual drivability of this is really good. He has real good pads up front, the Hawk pads, that's why the wheels are completely dusty. And at the same time, the paint's a little beat up, but winners can't be choosers with an SRT4. The SRT4 though has captured a lot of people's hearts because earlier today, when I was filming this car, doing the glamour shots, several people went to the SRT4 first out of a group of cars because a lot of people don't know what it is. That's one thing. And another thing too is it's just such a unique looking car. Is it for everyone? Absolutely not. Is the front end looking like an insect for everyone? No. And this is when every Dodge grill was the kind of cross grill, right? It has so much character, so much personality. And with basically right under 300 wheel, you can use it everywhere. The SRT4 in high school for me was very much like a don't mess with that car, right? Even though I didn't know any better because I was just getting into cars, and sure, there's plenty faster cars out there. I didn't know any better. When you heard a turbocharger on a 4-cylinder when you're in high school, you're like, whoa, dude, did you hear that thing? You see that big front mount in the front bumper? Don't mess with that thing. Guys, what do you think about the Dodge Neon SRT4? Do you think I'm overselling it? Do you think it's a piece of junk because it was a neon all along? Or do you appreciate Dodge trying something very unique and weird for the time? Personally, I know it might feel like it was like some kind of cash grab to try and capitalize on the tuner market. Okay, cash grab is a little too harsh. They just wanted to make a tuner car. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section below. Honestly, if I ever get to drive these, I enjoy it. I think it's a really fun time. I also really respect the people who keep up with these cars and keep them going, because it doesn't take a normal person to keep an SRT4 Neon running and driving as good as this does. Guys, if you want to support this channel, make sure to head over to PattersonCarCare.com. It is my own personal detail brand with original formulas made right here in the US of A. Especially our wheel cleaner. When it comes to cleaning wheels, it's like cheating. And on that note, I upload on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy. Have a wonderful day. And thank you for watching. Bye-bye.